I might not be able to get the mattress back in, which would be shit.
Might struggle to get it back in, but I think 2 or 3 people pummeling the crap out of it, it would probably go back in.
The first thing I'm finding is that the mattress is really big and it is quite flexible, but it's quite difficult to get it out. Also, that TV, I'm not going to be using that, and that's kind of in the way at the moment. So I'm gonna hook that out. There's a 12-volt feed there, which will be really useful for like charging my phone and stuff like that, and possibly my laptop. In my chill out zone. So I might have to see if I can work out a way of lifting the mattress up and holding it up in place while I start fidgeting around with that. Because the other thing is, if I do get the mattress out, I raise everything up 8 inches or 10 inches or something, I might not be able to get the mattress back in, which would be shit. So I'm going to go and get my drill and take that TV out and then have a little crack at getting that out. The other thing I've noticed is that the internal kind of thermometer here says it's 14.9 degrees in here, but because it's so well insulated, I've got a base layer and a lightweight fleece on. I'm actually starting to sweat just from trying to lift the mattress up. So you know, in a lot of weather conditions, this is going to be really toasty. With my new diesel heater in the winter, it should be really easy to keep it warm. So that's looking really positive, and I'll obviously report back on that in the winter. But I just don't hope I don't cook myself in it in the summer. But then, you know, I'd be outside most of the time, so it doesn't really matter. Maybe that's a good reason to have a tent with me. Anyway, this is all speculation. This time, I'm starting to realise that a van at this age is 2006, even though it's been coach built by Hymer and to a very high standard, where stuff gets added to it over the years, things can get a bit bodged, and this TV is held in with a variety of funny kind of nuts and bolts, which have been reinforced with this little piece of sort of board, thin board. So I've just had to nip into the house and get a tool case, a little toolbox out. I've got a big toolbox which has got like tons of stuff in it, and then a small one. And I have to kind of work out which one I take with me, or how much of each I take with me. But it just shows that things quite quickly get slightly complicated. So that's created a nice little bit of space in that corner, which will be useful if I lift this bed right back up to the height of this kind of white band here. And I've got a few little bits and pieces that might be useful for other little projects. What I've now realised is that at the moment I can just about sit upright in bed, look out the window, and there's about 1.5 inches between the top of my head and the shelf. The shelf can't be removed, not easily, and it's useful for storing books and stuff. I can't raise the bed up without losing this, and I think this is going to be really important to have. So with regards to general space, I'm going to need to just try and make a bit more use of some of the space by the side of the bed. I think I can put other shelves and things up in here, and maybe some sort of bits of cargo netting and stuff like that to hold stuff in. But it just causes a little bit of a problem with the bikes. But I think I'm just going to have to accept that I'm going to have to take the wheels and drop the seat on the bikes, and just try and be clever with a way of storing them. So because this feels really nice sat here looking out the window, and if I raise this up, the only way of relaxing up here will be like slumping down on pillows. So that kind of stuff's my plan. It doesn't mean I haven't got to cock around with trying to raise it up. So I'm just gonna have to have a really good look at the garage now, then see how to work the space out. I'll film that next. Anyway, I'm gonna have another look at this bed because I got my mountain bike in there last night, and because the spare wheel is running across the width of the van and it's too big to spin around 90 degrees, it means to get two bikes in the garage sort of neatly in a way that allows me to stick a load of other stuff in there and put some big duffel bags full of, say, winter kit and stuff like that. Yeah, I have to take both wheels out of my mountain bike, and because they're hydraulic disc brakes, you know, you can pack those little red plastic things in there to stop you accidentally popping the pistons out of the calipers. But it's easy to knock one of those out, and you can end up, you know, losing all your fluid and having to bleed the brakes again. So I'm just going to have another look and see if there's a way that I can raise the bed up and still keep headroom. I'm thinking about taking this shelf out or raising it, because that's the only thing that's stopping me at the moment. And if I did that, I could raise the bed up potentially like 6 to 8 inches, and have masses of room in the garage. And you know, ideally, you just want to lift your bike up and sort of wheel it straight in, and then just, you know, lash it to the side of the van, which is what my intention was originally. So I'm gonna sit on the bed and have a think about this shelf and see if I can bring myself to remove it, because it looks as though it wouldn't, you know, it's going to take some effort to lift the bed up, but it doesn't look hugely complex, and it looks like the frame is held together with some kind of fairly big coach screws, which should be fairly easy to get out, and then I could just put some spacers in and lift the thing up, fix it back into place. Some of the wiring might need slightly moving, but I'll look at that when if I get to that point. But I feel as though I'm on a bit of a roll, and it's a good point to do this because my work kicks off on Tuesday, and I'm going to be busy for the next kind of 3 weeks at least, and then I've got a week off to move. So this weekend is, you know, if I start today, I've got a straight run of 2.5 days that I could get stuck into it. So that's the next thing on my list. So I've got some cabling that comes along the back of here through there. Now some of it I know goes to what used to be a reversing camera, which is no longer fitted. And then there's some others that go up to the top. And I think there's a 12-volt output under there. And I think that's what those are. I think that goes up over the top. And the fixings are fairly easy to get out. I think those lights are battery powered, because I can't see any feeds going into them. So it looks like I could take that out and then create at least another 6 inches of space there. So I'm going to see if I can take that down and see how that goes. I just managed to get the mattress out by kind of folding it in half and pulling it back. I'm just going to have to make sure if I lift this up by 6 inches or so, I might struggle to get it back in, but I think 2 or 3 people pummeling the crap out of it, it would probably go back in. So I'm going to take all these screws out here, look at the way this has been bolted together, and then I think it may be fairly easy just to lift it up. Right, so this just happened. So I do need to get on with this. I think I am going to raise it up and remove that shelf. I'll work out how much height I need to gain, or I can gain, and then raise it up accordingly, and measure the size of the door. I'd like to use the whole size of the door really, but should be fairly straightforward to do this once I get stuck into it. Right, more investigations. I thought I was screwed for a second because it's got these really long star drive bolts there and there. It's not fixed on this side, but if I can get those out, I would have to got a saw out and cut, and then I'd have to extend the pieces of wood, which would just cause a nightmare. But I've got those out. So
So I think I can go 6 inches up. I'm gonna go outside. I can only just get out past the mattress and everything now, and take the mountain bike out and just create a bit of space in there, and then have a look at removing these bits of upholstery out of the way, because they can go back in afterwards. I'm not too fussed about that. And yeah, I think it'll be fairly easy to do. There is a captive bolt down here that I haven't got to yet, but if I can get that out, I'm sorted, I think. So there's a bit of cabling here which is probably for rear lights and stuff like that, and I think I can see some of the original fixing places for it, so I should be able to just sort of pull that up out of the way and almost get the full use of my door back, which would be flipping amazing. But let's see what we got. So these upholstered panels are fitted directly into this board, and then they put this up, so I'm gonna have to remove that to allow me to fix these in. But it looks as though actually I might actually be able to find the original fixings, and I'm gonna have to remove that and cut that to length or something. I'm not too fussed about details at the moment, it's just getting the thing higher. Right, this is on. I couldn't work out why I couldn't lift the thing up, but there's a second star drive bolt in each one of these. Hope I can get to those, otherwise I'm going to cut the bastards out. There's just one final issue, is it's getting caught on the top of this the Calagas cabinet, and it looks like it's got some kind of adhesive gunk down there. But I think once that's off, I can just lift the whole thing up, take these fixings off, lift them back up. I might have to take these panels off, might even find the original fixings, or lift it up as high as I want, and then it's a case of just putting everything back in again, rerouting the wiring a little bit. Yeah, should be fine. Pretty much at the point of starting to put stuff back together again. It looks like this, I'm not sure whether the glue on this has been used to help just stick stuff together, because they've been putting glue on the joints of stuff as well, which is pretty difficult to get. As you can see, I ripped the lamination off there, and it looks as though this might need to be sealed, so I might have to put another piece of wood back in there just to help seal it off. Of course, you know, we don't want gas leaks and stuff like that. But once I work out exactly how much higher I want to go, all I need to do next is fix this back on however high I want it, possibly remove that and that, extend this by the same amount, and then I can put the frame back in. Not sure if I'll get full use of the door back, but I am going to get at least 6 inches, I think. So I'm going to push on. It's starting to drizzle, and I'm completely committed to this now. So it's about an hour and a bit later. I've managed to get everything. I've decided to lift it up 8 inches, and I decided that if I sat with my back against the wall but with a pillow behind me, my head could go up, you know, much closer to the ceiling, within a few inches of the ceiling, and it gives me the full height of the door. I actually got the mountain bike, put the wheels back in it, and actually offered it through the door. And you know, the garage is supposed to be for just whacking bikes in there, so it's just doesn't make sense to sort of mess around with it. I'll remove the shelf above. I'll sort that bit afterwards. I want to get this garage, you know, fully functional. And it looks as though I might actually be able to put the spare wheel above the water heater, right out of the way, which would completely free up the garage for bicycles and other stuff, and putting some cupboards in it and stuff like that. So that's what I'm hoping to do. But I'm just about to start putting in the sort of like upholstered panels back round. Got to make sure they're the right height, but it should go back together fairly easily. I've got to fix some wiring back into place. That's long enough, so it's fairly straightforward. It's just time consuming because I want to get it right, make sure it's strong. Right, push on. So I had a little bit of a problem. I was going to try and just remove that panel and then cut it to length, but as I pulled it, it started coming away and then it just snapped. So I've had to just kind of nibble the edge just to get this last piece of panel in. I've just fixed those cables up out of the way, and they just appeared to be an interior light, so which doesn't work at the moment because I think the bulb's gone. But I'm just making sure that's out of the way of these metal fixings so they don't rub. This has got an extra piece on the back that I'll probably try and remove because it won't allow it to sit flush. And I've just got to nip a little bit off the corner there, maybe another bit at the end where that bit of conduit is. And then it's kind of almost ready to start going back together with the frame and then the mattress. But this is where the water heater is, and I'm going to see if I can fit the spare tyre up there. I might have to put a board over it, probably because I need to protect that. So maybe put a piece of batten at the back and then a board sitting on it if I've got anything. But it's pretty tight as to whether it'll fit in there, I'm not sure. But if I could get that up out of the way, it would be amazing. It would just free up the whole of this space. I could take all this crap out. In fact, there's a good sized board there. Maybe I can take that off and put that up there, and that would keep that on it. But I did think about trying to lift this up even higher, but I'm just going to run out of headspace. That's not quite level, but when the mattress is on there, you won't see it. So I've removed the way the spare wheel was fixed here. It was mainly glued in, and there's a little shelf there. And I've worked out that I can put the wheel in right at the end at an angle, or I might be able to get up here. So I put a little shelf, I fixed the shelf in there on top of the water heating system, the pneumatic system. If it won't squeeze up there, because it's really heavy, if it won't squeeze up there, I'll put it at the end and I'll rig some way of fixing it in place. And I'm doing all this before I get the bed back on, so it's just easier to do it. So I'm just trying to future-proof it a little bit. So I'm just going to try and get the wheel up there. But the thing is, if I hurt my back or something like that, and then I had to get the wheel down, it would be a bit of a nightmare to do that. So it might be better if it's just tucked right at the end. But at least if it is the end, I think I can just push the bikes in. I still might have to take the front wheel out, but at least I won't have to take both of them out. But you know, even if I can't get up there, that's about 8 inches of space there, and I've gained 8 inches above the gas cylinders, and you know, there's more here. So it's just going to be a much more usable space, and I still think it will be comfy and, you know, nice up top. I think it's important that I've got the storage space as well. It's what it's designed to be like. Okay, let's crack on. So it turns out that this wheel will not fit up there, and it's too heavy. It's only about 1 inch too big, but it's still a really usable piece of space. But I have found that if I lift it up high enough onto this little shelf on the side, it actually fits in there really well. I was a bit concerned about it pushing in on the motor on the Truma, but if I get it high enough, it sits really well. It did start pushing the siding because the fixings on this are really quite weak, so I've just put a bit of reinforcing down at the bottom and put another piece on top. It's a little bit Heath Robinson, but I'm just using it the bits that I've got. So that's made that really strong, and this now fits in really nicely at the end. And I'll find an old strap probably. We'll see. Actually, there is that bracket. I might be able to reuse the bracket and just fix that to the end, and then this will just fix in the end there. And it's just created an extra, well, 18 inches of space. So I should be able to get the bikes in much easier. I'm just gonna keep going. It's about 7 o'clock now. I'm feeling quite rough, but I'm just gonna keep pushing so that tomorrow it's just like really easy stuff. Because once I've got this settled in here now, all I need to do is put the boards back on the top of here and fit the frame back in, and then wrestle the mattress in, and it's done. So unless I'm missing, there's a little bit of trim I need to put in to make it look nice, but other than that, I think we're nearly there. So. And let's hope I haven't made it too high. So it looks like I should be able to use the original bracket. This has got a bolt with a kind of wing nut head on it. If I just put that up there, it will just sort of take the weight off the cabinet slightly, and it's just perfectly situated. And you know, hopefully I'm never going to have to use it. It's a brand new tyre. But if I do need to use it, all I need to do is drag the bikes out and whatever else is sat in here, and just wheel it out. So it's easily accessible and it's well tucked out of the way. So I'm going to see if I can line this bracket up. Done. Fixed in place using the original fixing plate, and the piece of board that it was fixed to, is glued here. I've put that up there. So that's helping give that all a bit more strength as well, that box. And it's protecting it against the wheel here, and it gives me another little shelf to put stuff on, like a little bag or something like that. So yeah, I've got shitloads of space. Right, I'm just gonna have a little bit of a clear out now, and I might start looking at putting the bed back together. It's about 7:45 now, but don't know, it'd be quite nice to keep pushing on. Okay, so I've just swept everything out. I'm ready to put the boards back on, and then the kind of frame that looks a bit like a futon bed frame that goes on top of this and screws down into this frame to help give it more rigidity. And then it's just the mattress, I think. Let's see if I can remember how it goes back together. Come across a little snag here where this board doesn't want to fit back in, and I'm trying to kind of force it back in, and I think it might be something to do with the way there's an extra piece of material on the back of that, which I think is forcing everything slightly too far back. And although I can sort of just about squeeze that down, I'm wondering whether the other frame will go in. I think I'll try and just pin that down and get the other one half of the frame and see if it's going to stay in there. Okay, eventually got it back in. It all squeezed in there. Tighten everything down. I'm just going to put these little finishes on, which I meant to do before I put everything back together, but I'll just zip those back on. And then I might have a quick go with the mattress. I'm a bit knackered now. I might save that for tomorrow. I might have a quick go, because if I do, then tomorrow I can have a look at that shelf. Oh my god. Okay, it's in. It's like wrestling. Yeah, I had to kind of get it half in and then climb inside and kind of drag it back in. So I'm just checking the bike in, and I can now actually just about get it in. If I tilt it over as I sort of reverse it in, I can actually get it in without taking either of the wheels out, which is perfect. I don't think it'll store it like that often, but it does give me that option. So I'm really pleased with that. I'm really glad I put the effort in to lift the bed up, because it just gives me so much more space and more options inside. Okay, it's Sunday the 7th of May. Just come back out into the van. I actually managed to get quite a good night's sleep. I think I got about 7 hours sleep last night. I've been averaging about 3 or 4 recently because of this cough for about 3 weeks, and you know, it's not helping me get better, but I feel quite a lot better just for getting a really good night's sleep. So I'm going to spend today, tomorrow's bank holiday, just chilling and pottering, doing some easier stuff with the van and just chilling out at home. So this is said shelf. It looks like the fixings are, you've got these funny little circular fixings with a screw that goes in at an angle. And once I take those out, I should be able to drop it down. Once I'll probably just tape the wiring out of the way initially with some gaffer tape or something, just to get it kind of operational, and then I can think about how to make it look nicer, and whether some of that wiring can be stripped out actually at a later date. I've just got to get the van kind of functional to start with. So yeah, let's try and take that down. Another thing I thought I'd mention is just that anything that I've removed from the van in the way of fixings, I've been keeping in a little box, because for a start, you know, I'm just trying to be careful that I don't use any, you know, new screws that are too long, that are gonna sort of go through the inner kind of wooden paneling and pierce the outside of the van. So by keeping stuff you know, I recognise as being the right length in there. It just helps me, you know, make sure I don't do any kind of damage. Right, there are 6 fixings here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if I take those out, oh, actually, there's another one there. 7. Once I take those out, I think this will just drop. So let's look. Okay, that was slightly tricky because those kind of aluminium poles that run across here, they actually really help support the outer edge of this this shelf. Oh, there are some wires going into those. Okay. But yeah, they're a bit fiddly to get out, but I got them out. The only slight issue I've got is that the cabling has been run through this piece of wood. So I'm gonna have to kind of nibble that away with something to get them out. I will check to see whether I actually need those cables, but I think I'll just try and nip those out of those and put them back in this little bit of conduit. Just keep it tidy for now. Although that's going to be in the way of my head, so probably that's only stuck on there. That's only stuck on there, so I'll pull it off. So I just need to take this bit off the bottom, have a look at those lights. I've not actually managed to get them working yet. Presumably they're 12 volt. But you know, nice little job to do today. Yeah, these are a little bit tricky to get off, these lights. You have to like twist them kind of until it feels like they don't want to go for any further, and then you just give them apply a little bit more force, and then it just clicks, and then it disengages this little tab here, and you can pull them out. So these have been fixed by some screws, and this bit of sort of conduit just held in by these. So I'll take all these out and save this shelf and the bit of conduit which is there, because it's nice to be able to customize my van a little bit, but using original Hymer materials, it kind of makes it a bit more kind of genuine, I suppose, and kind of helps retain the value of the van, I think. So I'm going to take these lights off, and I'm probably just going to hang them up. I'll put a little hook up there for now, just hang them up out of the way, and decide. I might be able to put one either side, because my head's going to be here when I'm sat up, and if I'm sat up reading, maybe if I have a light there and a light there, it will just be really good like reading space, because I'm a bit of a nerd. Okay, they do work, which is really cool. So I'll just hang those up out of the way, sort this little piece out here and remove that conduit. And that's probably as far as I'm going to take that today. And the moment of truth, my head is just touching about an inch up from that join. But there's plenty of headspace. I think there's another maybe 3 inches between my head and the actual roof. So I can sit upright. I can see out of the window. Yeah. Excellent. I think that's going to be it for this little group of videos. These are some of the kind of major things I've been tackling with. I hope you have enjoyed some of these videos. I hope you find them useful. I hope it kind of maybe give you the confidence to tackle some of these things yourselves. You know, I think if you do things, if you spend a bit of time looking at them and then start looking at things methodically, and if you can reuse some of the, you know, the materials that you want to change, then it kind of keeps the kind of genuine flavour to the vehicle you bought. And I don't think it will devalue it too much, especially if you make it more useful. I met up with some of my van friends yesterday, and I've showed them what I've done so far, and they think it's just adding value. I'm just trying to make this van as kind of off-grid compatible and usable as possible, and you know, after I finish with it, I hope someone else can take it on and absolutely love using it. I'm absolutely love this van already. If you like what you've seen so far, please do like this video. Please feel free to add some comments,
and subscribe and share it with other people you think might be interested. So I'll sign off for now, and I'll catch up with you soon. Cheers.